I want to play in Europe. What the hell does that mean, right? Because Europe could be Latvia, Luxembourg.
No one's talking about Latvia or Luxembourg, dumbass.
So you don't want to just shove it in there. Start with a smaller finger, especially if this is the first time. Start with a smaller finger and go slow.
I mean, there's a lot of things that need to change.
Honey, eating it is the best thing that you can do for your man.
I want people to realize I'm just human. I'm just human, and I make mistakes.
So this guy, Derek, wants to know, is putting your tongue in an ass really the thing to do?
Yeah, it feels really good.
It's a weird one, I think.
And I know you want me to toss your salad too, don't you? All right, on that note.
What are you saying, bro? You are.
Stop, bro! Stop, bro, help me and stop!
There you are.
There we are. Welcome to the Straight Red Card here on a Monday night. I actually have the, there's so many games to watch this weekend. I got Crystal Palace up right now, trying to finish that one up so far. So good for Chris Richards, one of his better games. And I love the fact that he's got the big fro, so he really stands out. Like, I hate it when I have to search for players.
No longer braiding it down?
Well, like at AC Milan, Reinders and Pulisic look similar sometimes. And I'm like, oh, who's that? Oh, shit. Oh, that's Pulisic. He came all the way back to get the ball. I assumed it was Reinders because it's way deeper in the midfield. No, but Pulisic came all the way back to receive the ball. So it's a lot easier. I wish our guys would wear, like, I don't know, a glowing, glowing shoes. That would be nice when I'm watching so I can follow. But it's been rough.
That was always the nice thing when like Reina and Scally would like bleach blonde their hair. Yeah, because you could sit there and just see them from a mile away. Oh, there they are.
I always love that. Did get the interesting question in class today. Or was it? I think it was late last week, Friday. What is a micro penis? Everybody giggled, but that is an actual thing. Some people are born with those. Yeah. It's not going to be on the test.
It's going to be on the test, guys.
It's not going to be on the test, but I might slip it in on the test. You know, the hardest thing about making the multiple answers tests is you got like 2 or 3 things, might, be feasible. And I always try to throw in a 4th thing that is absolutely not feasible and no one should pick it. Like my big one is testicles or gonads in anatomy. When we're talking about like the mouth. And as I put in gonads and testicles, if you pick that, you're just an idiot, right? You pick gonads as your answer.
Here's when you're doing anatomy, on the test, you need to have a piece of paper with a ruler printed on it, and draw illustrate a micro penis, illustrate a regular penis.
Well, currently, I guess
9 centimeters. No.
Looking it up, the current definition is, especially as they get older, is anything under 3.67 inches when stretched to full capacity. Now, I really don't understand how you can stretch it to full capacity unless it's erect. That's full capacity stretch. Can you pull a penis long enough that you can measure it and say, yeah, I pulled it like as far as it could go when it was soft? That's probably as long as I'm going to get when I'm like really rock hard. I don't know. When I'm fully erect, I feel like, do you really want to pull your penis like that to measure it anyhow? If you're a doctor, that seems really painful to the patient.
It's like watching those movies where they're pulling the tongues and they cut the comically long tongues.
Yeah. By the way, the longest tongue's like 6 something inches, like 4.6, inches. It's not even that long. But, I don't know if that's an accurate way to measure a penis, is to measure it while it's soft and just pull it as far as you can out. I think that sounds rather painful. So if that's what they're doing right now, do it. But also, you can't stimulate a small child to measure that. That's gross too, right? That's disgusting. So you're not going to do that. So I don't know. All we know is it's a very small penis. So there you go. But, I understand that with testosterone treatment, it can be, so you're born with it, but it can be fixed along the way, right? With more testosterone. early on with treatments of some sort, because it happens because of a lack of testosterone in the womb, which is what I read. Anyhow, I'm not an expert and I'm not a doctor. I just stayed at a Holiday Inn last night.
Well played.
Yes. Well played. That's all I got actually for Schmudge, but we don't have the turd in the background, but we do have Colin Reese, who opened up our chat today.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's all against you, Derek, so.
I know. That's cool.
I've got all the good takes, so I got the good takes. You've got the bad takes.
Your takes are similar to mine. I don't understand it. Before you claim who's a bad journalist, make sure you acknowledge that you are bad. Me, I think he's saying bad. Or maybe Derek. Oh, just me. Okay.
Yeah.
Even though I was the real journalist and Brett was not. Although you wrote what one article?
A couple on One Love Soccer. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that was a short-lived affair. But anyhow. For both of us.
The website didn't last long.
No, it did not. Run by the same guy who was a big Freddie Adu lover, like right till the end, all the way to when he was playing in Finland. Crazy. Third division Finland or whatever the fuck it was. You made up that MLSCBs made mistakes. When? Where?
We talk about when Long and Zimmerman and Miles, using those three as an example, and say like, well, they made a mistake doing the X, Y, and Z, and Colin will back it up by saying
you said it too.
Sure, I've had this conversation with Colin a couple times, so it's all right. He's calling you out right now because he hasn't had that conversation with you yet.
He doesn't get to. Your Diego Luna take permanently disqualifies you. What the hell's up with that? He just needs to go somewhere else and get some experience at playing a higher level. I don't understand. I've never said much bad about Diego Luna.
That take was could he possibly make the 2026 World Cup roster?
We
had this conversation last show, and my whole point was that with a limited window, and if Poach calls Luna and Luna has a stellar window or two, that he could, in theory, have impressed him enough to get called in. Yes.
No, but he won't, and he's not going to.
Dude, this is what he's talking about, though.
Oh, God. But I'm being realistic. My shit's not Disneyland, as somebody else so aptly put it in the chat. All right. Anyhow, I think Diego Luna is more of a 2030 guy if he can make that happen. I don't think 2026 is in range right now. I don't. I'm just being honest with you, so you're not surprised when he's not there. And
well, I mean, I even said it last show that it's likely he won't be there, given the number of windows and given the players he's played up against. My whole argument was simply saying that if he had a couple of solid windows where he could impress Poach, that he could, in theory, have impressed him enough to get a call in.
And then put up the next one, because that really explains the problem here. You've pushed for awful rosters. We don't push rosters at all. We do not push rosters here. We try to mind meld with the manager and pick what we think he's going to do. If we picked our own rosters, fucking Maloney be playing center back by now. All right, we don't do that here. We do not do Disneyland. That's what you do. We don't do Disneyland. And the fact that we get
you, by the way, because everybody else does it too.
Yeah, that's okay if you want to do Disneyland, but as a show, we can't sit here and give you Disneyland. If you want Disneyland, go watch other shows because they do Disneyland. We don't do it here, and we just do our best to give you what the actual roster will be, and we're 99%, 97%, somewhere between there, correct most of the time, and that's our job to give you reality. If we had to pick our own rosters, well, then we'd be just picking our own, but we don't get to pick the roster. Poach does. Period.
Yeah, we give reality. What we conceive as reality takes because we're jaded at this point.
Yes,
and we're just like, we're never gonna get what we actually want.
And so,
we're still pretty damn close at this point, quite frankly.
Right.
I think the coaching staffs late into Berhalter and then obviously under Poach, I think pretty much predominantly have finally come around to the case as far as who's our cream of the crop, if you will.
We'll see. I mean, I still haven't got a full cling onto Poach yet, but hell, we had Berhalter nailed, dude. We had him nailed. Not only could we pick the roster, we could pick the starting 11 90%, 95, 98% of the time. It was insane. That's how much of a robot that dude was. So anyhow, you can blame us for being the reality kings if you want, but that is what we are. We don't do Disneyland.
You can't reality kings happens to be a porn site.
Oh shit! Yes, that's right. I totally forgot about that. I haven't seen anything by them for years, though. They still up? They're running?
They still pop up, yeah.
Okay. All right. All right. Welcome to Straight Red Card for the 105 of you already here, just 10 minutes in, which is, I mean, I might just shoot jizz all over the wall. That's a pretty early go. I don't have, well, by the way, is Vlahovic's first name really pronounced Dusan? Dusan Vlahovic?
Maybe. Probably. Yes.
I think it is because that's how they said it all. Now, I don't know why they kept using his first name, but I kept thinking Dusan. That's got douche in it. That sucks. I wouldn't want that name, but he doesn't know.
Sounds like some kind of an anime character would announce Dusan.
But Dusan, clean it up. But at the same time, I would say, well, that's just American. No, it's not. Douche is a French word. So douche is all over Europe. Like the Germans use the word douche. So Dusan, but they kept saying Dusan. Am I wrong? Am I mishearing it? It's possible. But anyhow, I swear to God, they said Dusan several times. And I'm thinking, douche on, douche off. What are we doing here?
Exactly, yeah.
All right. All right. Oh, somebody else pointed out, we could probably go up and find it, but somebody made a good point about Carney Chukwuemeka Mela. I think he's a Chelsea kid, right? Who Dortmund signed today. He's center midfielder.
Yeah.
I don't know.
There you go.
There we go. Thanks, Alex. Good catch. I saw it on Transfer Market today and went, that's odd. Okay, like they needed more center midfielder. Where are all the fucking defenders you're supposed to be signing? Because that's your problem. Like, really, honestly. So, yeah, we'll see what happens there. I don't think he's going to push Reyna out any further necessarily, but he might. We don't know because we don't know when Dortmund gives up on Reyna. The fact that Reyna played, midget minutes this weekend is not good. It's not good. So, yeah, it is what it is, though. So,
nothing like in that 82nd, 83rd minute, you finally see Reyna pop up on the sideline. You're, God damn.
Yeah, exactly. And by the way, we were right. He was not going anywhere this winter. We said it 1,000 times till we were blue in the face when everybody else was saying he needed to go this winter. We told you why he wasn't going to go this winter, and he didn't go this winter. All right, so there you go. He's stuck there for now, and it's not good. I agree with that. We were just telling you reality. We weren't saying he should stay there. In fact, the last couple shows, I think we said we'd like to see him go because we're kind of sick of it at this point. I'm sick of watching Dortmund, frankly. Doesn't even inspire me to get up in the morning and watch that. It does nothing for me because I know I'm going to have to wait 70 minutes until Reyna gets in if I'm lucky. And then maybe the occasional start, but we'll see what happens going forward. There are lots of other moves, and we'll get to that in transfer news.
Lots of talking moves there.
Robin Hugh, is that how you pronounce that, Robin? Let me know if we're getting it wrong. Robin,
how else would you possibly pronounce that? I think it's Hugh.
Huh? No, you're right. It's just Hugh. It's Hugh. Huh wouldn't make any sense. I mean, it could, but no, it's you. All right. I watched Bournemouth live this weekend, and Tyler was immense. He was a dirty bastard. It was generally one of the best games. It was great. He did get smacked around. He got smacked in the face. He took a ball, like a drilling on a shot. But what are we showing here?
This is Tyler Adams' highlights of the match.
Oh, okay. It's slow-mo. Dun, 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 dun. Right in the nuts. Is it the nuts, you think? That looks like the nuts.
Oh,
to
yeah.
me.
He goes down.
Yeah.
Like, it's just a sack of potatoes. Just, oof.
Yeah. That was right in the nutsack.
Was that off of a corner kick or something? Why was Tyler Adams in a spot where a Bournemouth player is shooting from outside the box?
I can't remember, but I do remember the shot, and I was thinking, did that hit him in the gut? Because that could take your breath away, or that hit him in the nutsack. I didn't watch it in slow-mo. That looks a lot like a nutsack shot.
Oh yeah,
that's right in the baby boys,
right in the man marbles. Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
Totally man marble shot. So right in the butter plums. So
Dude,
that.
Oh my god! So Jackson had multiple games this weekend again, and across the games, he was was Saturday's team's best goalkeeper. Let one goal in, wasn't his fault. Made a lot of really good saves. Over the course of the 2 games, he had 2 goals and 3 assists. So it was a pretty productive weekend for the kid.
Damn, he played goalie and scored goals.
Yeah. So
nice.
in this second game, we've got a kid on our team who took a shot just like Tyler Adams did. And he went down at first, but then he got back up, and he sort of laughed because the team we were playing was actually his old team. And he had like a smile on his face. I'm like, oh my God, insert random kid name here because I don't want to say his name. We'll call him Tommy. Hey, Tommy, you okay? And he goes, no. I'll his ass off the pitch and collapsed. I'm like, get in there. You can go in there for me.
Oh my God, yeah.
That's so bad for the kid. Oh, but he had a relatively good sense of humor about it, despite the fact that they're probably up in his third at this point.
It's so funny. I wrestled. I played tennis. I played soccer. I played baseball. I mean, the list of sports goes on. When I was a kid, I never got hit in the nuts until 1987.
No fucking year, Jesus.
And I was playing against Rod Snyder, who was like one of the best tennis players in Pennsylvania at the time. And unfortunately,
you got hit with a tennis ball?
Just hear me out here.
Okay.
This guy had a fucking 200-mile-per-hour serve. I'd never seen anything like it before.
Yeah, Rob Schneider played tennis.
Yeah, he did in this particular era in Carlisle, Pennsylvania. And my girlfriend, Jessica Drum, had come to watch the game and the match. And I can't remember. I think it was first set, second game. This dude fucking hits it's out by 6 inches, but I can't get out of the way. So I try to jump over the ball. Hits me right in the butter plums. Yeah. Dude, I was out for at least 5 minutes. I could not get up for 2. And then I was just waiting for that. And when you got hit, you fall down. And you're like, is that gonna? Yeah, that's it.
When Derek woke up, he actually had a full beard. That's how long he was in a coma.
It was embarrassing. Jessica, was like, oh my God, is Jules okay? Because she cared.
Sam
those
says,
are important
knowing
things.
The year of the first nut shot is crazy.
Yeah, you don't forget something that painful. And that it's in front of your, first, like I was 16, she was 18. She taught me some things, and, I wanted to hold on to this girlfriend, wanted to impress her as well. And that was not impressive. I also got my ass kicked, 6'2", like 6'2", 6'2", on top of getting hit in the nuts, adding insult to injury. Yeah. All right. So I never got hit in the nuts in soccer. Never.
On a separate but similar note, I wonder if porn stars know when their first nut shot occurred.
Nut shot? Yeah, I bet they do. Their first film.
It was 1994. No.
I shut my nut all over. It was a nut shot.
Speaking of nut shots, we don't get claim for this nut shot here.
Okay. This is another column quote.
Poor guy just trying to leave his house. Gets attacked by wildlife. Watch this.
Doobie doobie doobie. It's a normal day. Holy shit.
Look at that little guy. Ah, man. He's going, man, I'm just trying to get your chocolate salty balls. Don't worry about that.
Squirrel. What are we talking about? Oh my God. That fucking squirrel's got to be rabid. Got to have rabies, dude. I'd go immediately to the hospital if I got bit by that motherfucker. Because they're never going to catch that squirrel. There are like 50,000 squirrels in a neighborhood like this.
Well, it's not like it's a snake where you need to get the snake and the particular venom from the snake to make anti-venom. if it's rabid, you got to go and get the rabies shot taken care of.
Yes.
You don't need to bring the squirrel and say, this is the motherfucker that got me.
Here's the thing. Those rabies shots are numerous and painful.
Oh, well, it's better than the alternative, Derek.
But if you can catch the squirrel and bring it with you, you don't have to get the shots because they'll just test the squirrel for rabies. And if it's not rabid, they'll release the squirrel or euthanize it and they'll let you go home without taking 55 shots in the gut.
Your chances of collecting a squirrel are close to none.
None. Absolutely none. It's like chasing a chicken. Good luck.
Yeah.
Or an oiled pig.
I don't think he actually got bit.
Only because he says here, what a day. Imagine starting your day that way.
Oh my God, he's a hand on the car and everything. He's like, son of a bitch.
You fucking walk out to go to your car to go to work. The first thing that happens is a squirrel fucking attacks your ass.
Hey, better than coffee. Better than coffee. You don't even
I don't wake your ass up. That'll get the adrenaline going. Do I have rabies? Yeah, that'll get the fucking adrenaline. Did he bite me? Like, I would have gone back in the house and I would have taken off my shirt, looked in the mirror, made sure that little fucker didn't take a nibble.
Well, if you go back in the house, you stand a chance of getting attacked again.
Well, he looked like he ran off there at the end.
Yeah, probably into his little nest right here.
Nah, I don't think so. No.
I mean, squirrels make their nest at the very tippy tops of tall trees and shit. So little shrubbery bushes, that's not very safe. Anything
that was just a chance meeting.
Alex says, did he stood on it?
I don't think so. I think he just startled it.
Maybe he was taking a nap on the welcome mat and he stepped down and got right on the tail. Like,
I think he startled it and the squirrel had a fight or flight moment. A fight or flight moment, and he chose flight for whatever reason against a being, 100 times his size. So there you go. Crazy shit.
Yep. My neighbor's got a cat that actively pursues any form of vole or mouse or chipmunk, even squirrel and bird and rabbit in this area. I think all neighborhoods should have some, neighborhood cats that just roam the neighborhood.
They kill a lot of birds, though. It's not good.
Are you talking about like for bird flu or whatever?
No, they don't pick out.
Are cool.
They don't pick out ones with bird flu. They just kill birds in general.
No, my point is like, well, they kill birds. I'm like, well, is your concern that you like having the birds around?
Yeah, birds are great.
Okay, fair enough. I don't disagree. Birds are very vital to the ecosystem, and I don't think we should be killing all the birds off. I don't think the cats are killing the birds in record numbers. That
they are in some neighborhoods apparently, but yeah,
fair enough. But so one day I'm mowing, and I found this mass of an animal. I'm like, what the fuck is that? They got another mouse or whatever. And I looked down at it. They had caught and killed a bat.
Wow.
And I'm sitting there going, I was really not aware that there are many bats in this area. I mean, I know there are bats obviously in Indiana, but still not. I don't see bats flying all over the place.
No. Yeah, weird.
So the neighbor had to end up collecting the bat in a bag and had to take it to the vet to run for rabies because obviously the cat was the one who killed it and bit into it and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Fortunately, bat rabies free.
Good. And the cat probably had rabies shots, so we're all right there. Unnecessary rabies shots, by the way, for the most part. Yep. That's money for them. Every animal got to get rabies shots. Even though there aren't a whole bunch of rabid animals running around in the United States. But okay. Not that your pet is going to run into, for sure. Okay. Robin Hughes says for $1.99.
Oh.
I love fluff.
Yeah.
Some people love it.
I wish the fluff loved us though. Derek and I before the show were sitting there going, man, we're gonna get dinged on that freaking squirrel video.
Yeah, we're kind of worried about it.
Yeah, these fluff videos are great.
Sparks
fun conversation and all. But man,
they hit
screwed royal.
They hit us hard. All right, for the 157 of you, we're trying to get to 169 that are here.
Hey.
Cheers. I'm going to start my beer in a minute, and we'll start some soccer talk here.
Yes, we actually are going to start some soccer talk.
Mm-hmm.
So, Derek, you and I were around on the second run of NASL.
Yes.
From the ground level, too.
Mm-hmm.
Right from the beginning until its better end.
Right.
We were there. We brought in we brought together a professional team here in Indy.
Yep.
started NASL and then went to USL when NASL was crumbling.
Yep.
But as we know, NASL then filed a lawsuit to sue for damages done.
They dropped everything to do that.
And they brought in MLS, they brought in US Soccer, all as culprits.
Don't worry, guys. We're just gonna get this over with for now. People are already like, oh no. Wait a minute. No, don't do it. Boring.
Oh, come on. This is soccer talk, peeps. We're done with the fluffy fluffs.
There'll be more fluff intermixed in, but yeah. Anyhow, we started this soccer team called Indy 11. And then they were in NASL. They left. They went to USL because NASL imploded. And then NASL collected all the funds they had left and decided to sue the shit out of MLS and US Soccer. Yep. And they failed. So,
yep.
I mean, we all knew they were going to fail, but boy, they did not give up, did they?
No. This is definitely not going to go anywhere, but it was just a money sink for US Soccer. That's probably my biggest beef with it. And I understand where NASL was coming from. US Soccer was, in bed with MLS. Of course, there's going to be some fuckery going on.
Right.
But
they basically were telling USL or NASL, you can't be a first division team. Here are the bottom line things you had to meet. And of course, they couldn't meet them. And I remember talking to the commissioner of NASL at the time, who's like, no, we're going to get this done. We got teams lined up because you remember there's a severe lack of teams on the West Coast. And one of the requirements were so many teams had to be on the West Coast and so many had to be East, and we didn't have enough in the West. And so he was urgently working on that and that never really came to fruition. It was always kind of like, I think we got this. And then, no, it didn't work out. And then NASL just collapsed. And then they blamed that basically on the Division 2 rules that US Soccer had put on them and their collusion with MLS, really saying, well, yeah, they're going to let MLS teams get by on some of these things, but not us. And that's bullshit.
Well,
so
we're
you go.
We're seeing it now with the US Open Cup too, but I don't know. It's just NASL swung for the fences from the get-go. They shouldn't have really been trying to compete for that. Maybe they should have started back down at Division 3, Division 2, and just comfortably worked their way up at that point. Maybe at some point they could apply for it. It would have been better than just sitting there really trying to strive for it from the get-go. But it is what it is.
Yeah.
So here I pulled up I've got the statements from US Soccer and MLS, and that's really all we're going to talk about.
I mean, we can read the whole thing, but most of it's just bullshit. Talk about fluff.
Ignore most of that. I thought the right here at Since. So since our inception in 1996, MLS has been dedicated to making the necessary investments to elevate the sport of soccer and provide an exceptional experience for players and fans. Today, our focus remains unchanged, and we look forward to furthering our efforts to grow soccer in North America.
Yeah,
they're actively trying to squash some soccer in America, though.
Yes, the lower leagues. And, they forgot to add the part where since our inception in 1996, MLS has been specifically focused on making as much money as possible after we figured out how to not go under, which was, listen, give them credit. They didn't go under, and it looked like for a while they would. We were down to a handful of teams there for a while, and they managed to keep this shit up. And so give them credit there. But since then, it's really about making sure that you stifle any upcoming competition, that you denigrate and obviously pull out of USL with all your youth teams, your two teams, because, well, we don't want to pay the small fee that USL was requiring for them to stay in. Really a handful of bucks, really, for the most part, for most of those teams to continue to play big men. But then, MLS2 changed the rules. Then they're like, oh, yeah, it was going to be a youth league, but fuck that. Now it's a youth league with unlimited older players.
Now it's just a Division 3 league is what it is.
Yes, right.
There's youth. What is that word we're looking at? That's what it is.
Right. So it is what it is. Go ahead.
Yeah, US Soccer posted more or less the exact same statement that MLS did, except, it's the same argument. Hey, we're glad the jury sided with us.
Was it a jury or judge?
Jury. Both parties said jury, so I imagine that it was in fact a jury there.
Okay, got a fair trial then, because it's a jury, not a judge. A judge, could hang in there for the establishment. A jury, you'd think, would be more open to the small dog, the underdog. You would think a jury would be more.
In ASL comes out, hey, U.S. Soccer was being very unfair with their requirements. Well, they held MLS to the same requirements, and they had Division I status. Yeah, but we couldn't do that.
Right.
So, what jury's going to be like, well, I'm going to side with these guys because I feel like they might be getting screwed?
Yeah. Let's be really honest about MLS's history. From their inception until about 2009, their object was to survive.
Yeah.
Since the Beckham era, starting in, when did Beckham get here? 2006, was it maybe?
Blanca was 2009.
When's Beckham? When Beckham get here? Anybody knows?
It had to be 2006 range, yeah. That 2006 area?
Yeah, so Beckham got here, and then after that, the only thing they were planning on was making a whole lot of money. And that was the bottom line.
What can we do? We got to squash the little guys below us, and
now it took them a few years.
2007.
Yeah, it took them a couple years to get to we're squashing all competition, which is more like around 09, 2010. And that's
Portland, Seattle era, basically.
Yeah, when I was starting to say in 2010, 2011 reports that when I was writing still, hey, all you jokers that think that MLS is stopping at 20 teams, you're fucking crazy. Oh, all you jokers that think they're stopping at 22, you're fucking nuts. You think they're stopping at 24, you're full of shit. You don't know what's going on. And they laughed at me, and they laughed. Oh, what a fool. What does he know? Little did they know I had inside information at MLS feeding me all of that info. I knew from the beginning this was going to never stop. And I told people that, and they thought I was fucking crazy.
The league was going to stop at 20 teams. Of course. Why wouldn't it?
And they'd say, well, who's your source? Like, I'm going to give away my source inside MLS and tell you who it is? And by the way, I ended up being absolutely right. And I never published anything I didn't have real info for. Just like on Twitter, where we've made like one tiny mistake since we've been there. And we'll see if my turkey prediction for June 7th is not a prediction. Inside source provided
I got pulled up. I was going to bring that up, yeah.
Okay. Provided me this date for the game against Turkey. So if I get it wrong,
you're gauging your source at this point.
Yes, then I'm going to be like, I'm not using you next time.
Yeah. So Soccer Reform says U.S. Soccer and MLS wins and NASL loses for now. High possibility of appeal.
I mean, what else can NASL do? They're not really an entity anymore. They are more like a legal firm. That's all they are. So
it is a prayer to hope at this point that they're just going to get some of their money back, basically.
I just don't know how much more money they can pour into this NASL. Lawyers cost money. All these trials cost money. Yes, it is pronounced Turkey. I get it. Sorry, I'm old. Give me a pass. I haven't figured it out yet. It's been Turkey until I was 51 years old. I'm sorry. And I'm working on it. Give me a couple of years. It'll work itself out. But yes, I'd like to be respectful of what they want to be called.
NASL is basically fighting for the Cosmo IP, no? Sure. The Cosmo IP is dead. It's not going to spring up anywhere else. I mean, they could start the team again and put in USL at this point, but it's not going to happen in MLS. It's the dead IP.
I remember when they sent me all their shit for free. They sent me a New York Cosmos soccer ball, New York Cosmos patch, New York Cosmos shirt. I got it all free in the mail because they're like, yeah, you support us on Big Soccer. We're sending you free shit, That was nice, and I was excited because I, as a kid, was a New York Cosmos fan.
Sure.
And it just didn't work out.
Once I've got my my basement renovated and everything like that, I'll I'll be able to display my my NASL Indy 11 season 1 ball.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I got it too. Well, yep, have that.
I'm gonna have an odd variety of soccer stuff.
Chicago Fire and Indy 11 shit in the background. Yeah, I get you.
Yeah. Soccer too, yeah.
By the way, Elwolf, don't worry about it, man. We don't take anything like that bad on the show, so we know you were kidding. If we didn't know you were kidding, it doesn't matter.
I mean, the giant laughy smiley face at the end of it is enough.
Yeah, we knew.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're not taking ourselves that seriously. Trust me.
Oh, I'm the king of mispronouncing things.
Yeah. Just give the old man
reality king.
Yeah, just the reality king of it. Yes. Just give us a chance, or me especially, to kind of adapt to the turkey thing.
That's right. NASL is buying Pete and Filippo. They were the Cosmos were the backers for Pete and Filippo.
Oh yeah. Casimino. What's his name again? Anyhow,
you say potato. I have no idea.
I forgot his name. The owner of the Cosmos. All right.
I'm still waiting on Peter North's check to come in the mail, man.
It's late.
It's late.
God damn it, Peter.
It's not the first time he's heard that, I'm sure, too.
Rocco Camiso. Thank you, Chambers.
Yep.
I knew it started with a C. I just couldn't remember it for whatever reason right now. It happens all the time on the show, if you guys know. I forget names constantly. All right, what else we got?
That's the joy of having a knowledgeable chat.
Shit.
Chat who's always covered. Usually it's BMR that's got us covered. Used to.
We missed 169. We're at 183. We fucked up. Sorry, guys. We missed 169. It flew by. Our bad. Well, shit. Now we're at 187. Fuck. Well, we're way by it now. All right.
Man.
But don't tune out. Don't tune out. We don't need to go back to 169.
Like, I'm going to need 12 of you fuckers to fuck off.
All right. I said, per trusted source, I just got home. I got this while I was teaching. Like this, I got a text pop up. I'm like, okay. Well, at first it was a phone call because this guy doesn't.
I think it's pretty cool that you still have Tony Miola's phone number.
Oh, right. I do have Tony Miola's phone number, but this is not what happened there. No. I knew what it was because I have him in my. I have it identified. So when it came up, I'm like, oh, I wonder what he's up to. Why is he calling me right now in the middle of the day? And he hates to text because texts are forever, right? So he likes to talk. He doesn't like to text. But in this case, he texted me after I didn't pick up. So he's not that afraid, and he obviously trusts me at this point that I'm not giving up his text and his info. So very cool. I got this far ahead. And if it's wrong, I guess I'm going to text him back and say, you dick, you fucked me over. Come on, dude. Why'd you give me bad info? But
why'd you play me like that?
I honestly thought I would be, by the time I got home, way behind the 8 ball. But no, I'm the only one that has the news so far, which is cool.
So a lot of people were talking about this. I really wish it would have been England. I mean, I know that there was rumored that we were going to get England, but did that fall through?
Yes.
What happened to that conversation?
Something else came across with England. They had some other commitment or something, so that didn't turn out. But still, Turkey's got a really great number of younger players coming up.
I'm perfectly fine with Turkey.
I mean, this is better than playing Costa Rica again, right? So
or Panama for the 5th time this year. Ugh.
Right. So
nothing against Panama or anything like that. It's not like we're lighting up the room with them. It's just we keep facing the same 4 opponents. And I'm just like, I'm so tired of this. Give me somebody else, anybody else.
So this is going to count as one of the probably 6 things I post this year that are going to be absolutely true and turn out to be true. Ooh. That I only post because I believe the person that gave me the information. So all I can say is, Jake, suck it. All right?
Yeah, you bottom of the
barrel
basement journalist, you.
Like, how many times have we posted false information on our show? Like, never. Pretty much never. We only break shit when we know it's absolutely going to be true.
What were you? What were you and Pete talking about that he brought that up? What was the topic at hand?
Oh, I don't even remember, but I remember that we were right. We were correct. We were absolutely on the number.
I don't remember what it was now.
Jake Czar says Jake who? Jake
he knows. Czar knows who Jake is.
Oh, well, I'm not going to say his last name. People know which Jake we're talking about.
Yeah.
But Jake has essentially disappeared, and I mean, he sold the name of his current show or his last
disappeared
show
to a Subscribe Star at this point.
To Subscribe Star.
What was that service?
He hasn't posted an article for a while.
What was that article? What was the site for the article? Though?
I can't remember,
Subscribe Star is the alternative to Patreon.
Yeah,
not Patreon, PayPal.
And this is a guy we treated nothing but nicely.
Substack, thank you, Chambers.
Yeah.
That was killing me. I was like, wait, Subscribe Stars, that's not right.
We treated him nothing but nicely. And then when he said that shit about us, I texted him and say, why you got to go that way? Dude, let's talk it out. No, he won't talk about it. All right. Well, that's on you then. Okay. No more on Jake. We're good. We're moving on. I
wasn't expecting Jake to come up on the show at all.
No, I mean, he's the one.
Up, right? It's always fun to bring up.
Well, he doesn't know my background. And he doesn't know who I know. So when he says that this show regularly produces false information, he had no examples. I even asked him, I said, send me some examples where we spouted out shit that ended up being wrong. Nothing. Okay, whatever.
I'm really trying to remember back what you guys are talking about too, man.
Yeah, I can't remember either.
You and Pete were talking on a show.
It's about the coaches, possible U.S. men's national team coaches, maybe?
Maybe.
I don't remember. I just happened to be on Pete's show that night. He was covering a live game. Tack was somewhere, and he's like, Derek, come on the show. I came on the show. We had a good time.
Yeah.
That's all. But
it was a fun segment. It drew a lot of clicks and views. You guys were talking. You guys had your takes. You guys had your sources. But, of course, you're below the basement sources, so.
Right, and I think he also snapped at Eric Winalda in that article, if I remember right, because we brought up Eric Winalda quoting somebody. Like, we were just quoting Eric Winalda. We weren't saying that he was right. Ends up, I think Winalda was right. So, there we go. All right, let's move on.
Says, Scuffed and Pete seem to be catfighting lately. He spent the first 10 minutes talking about Pete.
Scuffed Pod today spent the first 10 minutes talking about Pete. No fucking shit.
Kerfuffling, huh?
It is really weird. We have friends we've had on our show.
Places.
I mean, who cover the sport and players.
Soccer Wars. That should be a new segment. We need to come up with a theme song for Soccer Wars when this shit comes up.
And, this happened even with Jimmy Conrad when we had him on. We're like, hey, we had to talk him down. It's like, Pete's not that bad of a guy. I mean, I don't know what's, and, we only say that because we said it publicly before. And we talked about it with Jimmy when he was on the show. But I don't understand the vitriol against Pete from the establishment media. They don't have it against us. Like, I mean, Doug McIntyre, we're talking the other week. What's going on? I don't think he replied to Pete, but I know it's because of our background. I think
we have some inside roads, and they're sort of like, maybe if we didn't have the inside roads, there would be that animosity too. Plus we have a history. I mean, I feel like all the mainstream media members were all part of Big Soccer, and they all must have seen our show at some point. Maybe they don't remember it. I don't know, but
so Chambers is saying Pete's been a dick, to be honest, for a while. I mean, I don't watch all of Pete's shows, so I don't. Maybe you're talking about Twitter. He can't come off a little harsh on Twitter for sure, but it's not like I don't. So,
thank you. Yes, exactly. I'm usually the one that's cleaning it up and like sweeping up the after effects of Derek coming through a thread. I'm like, oh well, hey, Derek's just a little rough, Sweep.
Yeah, I think you're right as well, Sam. Pete just is getting his opinion across, and yeah, we don't use the word that he uses. We use compromised. He uses, what's the word? Shill.
Yeah.
That will turn a lot of people away.
Well, what automatically brings a negative light to you at that point. So yes, of course you're going to have a negative reaction towards when somebody calls you a shill.
So like
it is what it is.
He called Max a shill. They're probably not talking anymore, even though they had a great time in Austin together, right? Like I would never call anyone I know a shill. I would just state, because that's a derogatory term. What I stated about Max, and I defended it when Max and I confronted me with it, he's compromised. And you know what? He didn't argue with me about that. So if you're hired by MLS, there is only so far you can go criticizing MLS. That's it, period.
Or at least you have to be very strategic about it.
Yes, you got to be very strategic. And Max told me, well, I have criticized MLS before. And I said, well, yeah, but you were really careful about the way you did it.
Well, I mean, there's a difference between you and I, like absolutely embarrassing our MLS for not participating in US Open Cup, and members of the media come in like Tom Bogert came out and said it too. He goes, I personally believe that MLS should participate in US Open Cup. There's a difference between him saying something like that and us saying like, oh, MLS, US soccer, you need to grow a sack and fucking, bring down the hammer on MLS at this point, unless they participate in US Open Cup.
Yeah, I know there are comments going on here. Pete looks like he looks down on everyone. I mean, I guess I've never experienced that with Pete personally as a person.
Yeah,
and I know him.
Interactions with Pete.
I know him pretty well. I know what's going on in his personal life. I know we stay in touch on a regular basis. He's a great dude. And same thing goes with Tack. We're in touch regularly. I don't know. Those two guys are really great guys for me personally, as they're friends. But I don't. So I don't know. I don't.
Compromised.
I don't. I'm compromised in the sense I'm friends with these people. So it's really hard for me because I don't also follow all their Twitters, and maybe that's where they're the harshest, right? Maybe that's where it is, and I don't see it all the time. Like I don't read all their posts. I just don't.
And this is the reason why my mantra when it comes to social media and everything is just don't take it seriously, guys.
We don't.
Yeah, because quite frankly, what happens is Tact and Pete will say something, and then they have 100+ people commenting or interacting with them somehow, and they maybe they pick and choose some people they interact with and explain reasons why, and then they make the same comment again later on in life, and then they're just getting tired of having to say the same things over and over again, so they get a little short with it.
Probably.
This is how social media is. I'm not even saying that's what's happening with them by any means. I'm just saying this is what social media is.
I think you need to be
easy, guys.
I think you need to be pithy rather than short. Pithy rather than short. I think you need to respond in kind, but in the most brief way you can, but that sums up your point. I think somebody that's really good at that right now, at least in defense of himself, is Lawless. That shit's hilarious.
I'll say if anybody wants to handle social media in one way, if you become a relatively well-known person on the social medias, handling it like Lawless is the only way to survive.
Some guy called him a ton of names today, and he said, and that the time you support Trump, that was the camel, that was the straw that broke. Yes, and he's like, you own a camel?
You own a camel? And I love the fact that the guy responded goes, I love how you read all of my posts, and that's what you took from that. I'm like, no.
And then there was another one today where the guy's like, Jesus Christ, blah, 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 just attacks some nasty shit. And he's like, well, take that up with him. Not me. Take that up with Jesus Christ. It's just he handles it
you're
well.
Going to survive social media is just don't take it so seriously.
You just got to do that. You really do. You really do. Anyhow, we love Tack and Pete. There are like if there was ever a triumvirate of partnership going on here, you know.
Well, it was like the moment where a guy who listens to our show or at least watches our content on social media, came at me and said, but you're just a sim for MLS. I'm like,
what?
All right, I guess. I mean, sure, why not?
Yeah, you're a lifelong Chicago Fire fan, and I'm a lifelong Galaxy fan. I don't think we're simping for them, but at the same time, we've criticized the shit out of MLS.
We literally just had a segment at the beginning of the show where we harped on MLS, where they're not actively trying to pursue to improve the game of soccer in the U.S. overall.
Well, it's complicated. It is complicated. I do think there are certain owners of certain teams that do want to do that. Seattle, Portland, Atlanta, New York City, Dallas. There are teams, Philadelphia, focused on making soccer better in the United States. Not the old owners, not the Revs, although they're getting better at it because it's cheaper to develop your own talent, right? But there are plenty of the old owners that don't want a higher salary cap. They don't want any sort of talk about P&R. So yeah, it's hard. If you're Don Garber, you got to deal with all these guys, And so he's had to get around those old school owners by starting Tam and Gam, which are totally crazy, made up things that he made up.
Yeah.
So the teams could spend more money. So as much as we have criticized Garber and some of the idiot things he's done good things too. Like Tam and Gam were made up to circumvent and get around the old school owners who wanted to keep the cap so far down. I mean, their salary caps what they were going to spend looked more like Switzerland than it did Holland. And well, we got to get better than that. And so he said, I'm going to do it. And he did it. So I give him credit for that, but he's still got, so it's not clean cut. You got to understand he's dealing with all these different owners who all have different opinions. And I can't even imagine having to manage all that. But so I would place some of the blame for a lot of the stalling going on the old school owners before I would place it on Garber, because Garber came out several years ago and said, I'm with the owner of Seattle. I believe in his vision. I think it's the right vision for the future of MLS. Is that the vision MLS has right now? No, it's not, because there's not enough owners like the owner in Seattle who want to open the league up, raise the fucking salary cap by millions. No, it just doesn't exist. So there we go.
Okay.
I didn't know we were going there tonight, but all right.
We went everywhere tonight.
We did.
All right. So talking about the youth, you brought up teams like Philadelphia, who obviously have a pretty decent history as far as, working on their academy and bringing players through the system and, moving them around. And we'll get into another player later on in the future here. But the US U17 roster for the CONCACAF qualifiers was just announced today. And on this list, I mean, first off, it's qualifiers, so it's all going to be MLS. There's not going to be a single European player on here, first off and foremost.
And there doesn't need to be, because look at the teams we're playing. Did you scroll back up?
Yeah, sorry. But yeah.
Fucking St.
We're out of the group. We'll put it that way.
These are going to be 5-0, 7-0 games
but
against.
We'll be out of the group, but we got to get to the semifinals at least. So there's at least going to be a quarters where we may face like a Panama or Costa Rica for the 5,000 billionth time. But
well, we've done research on this before, right? Like the percentage of any of these U17 players turning out to matter is like at best 10%.
Sure. Predominantly maybe going to be USL based at any point in their history in the future. There may be some MLS
about half, probably 40% maybe.
There may
MLS.
Be one or two that move on to Europe at the end.
Yep.
But on this list, I thought it was interesting because I was thinking, Phillies has one of the stronger academy systems at this point. FC Dallas historically, of course. But this one is owned by our Real Salt Lake. They got 5 players on the team. And some of them are kind of are not noticeable, but are notable players. Some players who are playing for Mexico that now are going to be provisionally captied due to this.
Can we address one more thing here real quick?
Certainly could. Why not?
John says, Pete is like everyone else. He thinks he is always and plays favorites with players. Every single U.S. men's national team YouTuber does the exact same thing. I really don't know if you can put us in that category, brother, because I'll just give you a few examples. When Sargent wasn't doing what we thought he was, we were all over his nuts. And there are plenty of when Aronson was having a shitty season, we fucking called out Aronson. And when Sargent got better, we said he got better. I think that's the thing. It's fluid. And I think even Pete now is saying Sargent hasn't proven it yet. So at the U.S. men's national team, because he hasn't got to play a lot of the Caribbean nations in the flippy floppy games. But
okay, I want to address the Sargent thing because my timeline today has been destroyed by a Sargent topic, and it's one guy who's hating on Sargent, and you know what? He's got the standard argument. He hasn't scored in 6 years. Well, then I break it down. I'm like, well, technically he hasn't scored in 15 games.
Yes.
And that's not an indication to say, 15 games and not scoring as a striker is still not great. It's nothing to brag about by any means. It's still a bad stat.
It is.
But when you're out there saying he hasn't scored in 6 years, which is factually true, or 5 years, which is factually true,
but not contextually true.
Contextually true. The context about it is that he wasn't playing those entire 5 years. In
Correct.
fact, if you look at it, he played like since his last goal he scored, which was against Cuba in the Nations League qualifiers. He had in 2019. He's played 15 games for the U.S. men's national team. And guess why he missed majority of that time? Injuries. And there was that spell during qualifiers where he missed while he was playing in EPL, not scoring with Norwich and everything like that.
Yeah.
There
So
were large spells there. This is the thing. You could throw out the numbers and everything like that, but you have to look at the context behind it all. So
yes, you do. And we don't. Here's the thing: we don't slurp. I mean, as somebody said, you guys are kind of Sergeant Slurpers. We're just not giving up on him, right? We're not giving up on him because I watched the game at Norwich this weekend. I watched him play for Norwich. He's still got it. I watched the last 2 games. Right.
If all of our nines were healthy, where would Sargent fall in our depth for you?
Third.
So
I'm fair about it.
We'll make the argument, but we're going to flat out say, well, if Pepe and Ballo are healthy and they're only going to take 2, then Sargent probably is going to get left behind.
Or he'll be a winger, right?
That's the other argument. You can bring 3 strikers in because he can play out wide too.
Right.
And as I was mentioning, I feel like once. Because again, I'm not making the excuse of Sargent with the 15 games not scoring. That's a bad stat. He needs to break that. Personally, I think once he breaks that albatross is off his neck, I think he's going to start putting away more goals if he's given the opportunities for the U.S. men's national team. He's doing it for Norwich. He just needs to get rid of that crux with the U.S.
He needs to get acclimated with his teammates who he's played so infrequently with over the last, number of years. He just hasn't played much for the U.S. men's national team. He's got 1 game under Poach. Poach said very nice things about him.
2 games.
Yep. So we'll see what happens.
And Mexico.
And for the Sargent haters, if he's healthy, get ready for him soon because, Pepe's out through March.
He's out for 5 months. Pepe's out for 5 months. Sargent is our only viable striker at this point.
You're our only hope, Josh Sargent. You're our only hope.
This is your time, man. Put away those goals, man. Put those away, Don't miss those opportunities like you did against Panama. So
I really don't have a thing for German Americans either. Dietz is injured right now. this year it is Nathaniel Brown, but for good reason. So, John, I mean, I guess you could call it, but I mean, if I was a German American guy, I guess I'd still be chanting Timmy Chandler's name. Obviously, can't do that, even though people totally take me to the coals for that. Why? Is a guy who doesn't play for 2 fucking years. Anyhow, I'm just saying, I agree
with John. There is human nature there to pick out your favorites and kind of lean into them. And so, I mean, going off of the Dietz comment there last year, it still would be Dietz. Your opinion of Dietz hasn't changed except for he's been injured quite a bit recently.
Yeah,
right.
This season's been bad for him.
So it's unfortunate, and there was a lot of talk as far as Dietz getting a lot of interest over the summer. He didn't get a move, and then he became injured. So
yeah,
everybody's got their favorites, and you're going to lean into, of course. And you might fall into that crux as far as making excuses for your favorites. But I think as a whole, as Derek mentioned earlier, especially Derek. I mean, I was probably more of a Sargent stand during his EPL minutes, but Derek was sitting there going like, "Dude, the guy needs to grow a sack. He needs to grow a sack, start demanding that ball, and start doing something with it."
Yep.
And so I mean, he was there doing that. So,
and I was all over Aaronson's nuts when he was in Germany. I'm all over players' nuts when they're not doing what they're supposed to do. Yeah. And I think that's how it's got to be. The reason we don't have a lot of favorites here anymore is because we learned our lesson about having favorites, right? We're older. We've been around. We've been watching this game for a long time. You start picking favorites and those favorites don't work out, they bite you in the ass. So you cannot ride a guy like that's my guy. Too much of that's going on and it needs to stop. We don't have our guys anymore. We really don't. We might have player profiles that we think work. Well, it used to work, we thought, with Berhalter's system. Now we're in Poach's system. So now we got to totally reevaluate what works in Poach's system. And that's why we give you the real thing instead of Disneyland. We don't go Disneyland. We don't make up our own lineups. We say, what do we think Poach is going to do? And if that leads us to look like we are biased, so be it. So be it.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Go read that, Brett. I got.
Sure. Edgar Steele for $5 says, I feel Sargent bias is a Midwest thing because people forget he was a huge prospect growing up and up playing in St. Louis as a Ute. LOL. Yeah, I mean, he was a U17 playing for the U20s in the World Cup and still scoring goals. Sargent, Sargent's a very, very much I'm going to stereotype certain things here, but he's very much a Midwest type of mentality player where it's like a blue collar type player that will do whatever he has to do on the pitch. You know, he'll go and play winger. He'll check back and play more defense. Where whatever basically is being asked of him in that sense. So,
yeah, I mean, and I don't really care that I'm an Army brat. I've lived everywhere. Lived in Europe. I've lived in the United States. Lived all over the United States. I mean, I guess I'm a Midwesterner, but to me, I'm just neutral. I don't care.
You're only human.
I don't really care that he grew up in St. Louis. So there's that too. All right. I don't know how much more of this U17 thing we can cover because frankly,
Derek, we've barely touched on the U17s at all.
I don't know anything about these players.
That's fine. I know.
Except for Carissa.
There's not much. There's not a whole. There's not a lot.
And Chance Cowell. Sorry.
So there's not a lot to talk about. All I'm saying is that there are a couple of players who've been teetering on the fence one way or the other. Almost a dual nat panic kind of conversation we could have had here. These games would provisionally cap time to the U.S. at least. So take that for what it is.
I am not sure, based on the new revamped rules, that Giovia and Juteri are actually tied. I don't think that's true. Who wrote this? I think Marcus needs to go back and
tied it to U15.
You can't be.
No, there's not a. Is there CONCACAF championships? U15 CONCACAF championships. Is that even a FIFA sanctioned?
No. Yeah, well, it is, but still, Not okay. If he's saying they're tied and they can still make a one-time switch, he's correct.
I think that's what he's referring to. Yes.
I hope that's what he's saying.
Sure.
Because that's true. They are not tied. They're not. So when someone says tied, the problem with saying tied, people say cap tied, right? Like they're not cap tied. No.
Fair enough. He does say notable provisional cap ties, and then he goes into talking about how they're already tied, provisionally cap tied. It could just be a carryover.
Okay.
He's talking about the same type of tying, if you will.
Yep. So provisional cap ties means they can still make a one-time switch.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. To be fair to Marcus, he got it right then.
That's right.
Yep. Yes, Wes, we just had to reread it again to make sure he got that right.
Context, right? Adding the whole context.
I had to reread it because I didn't know he meant that about the bottom ones he was talking about. So I just knew he meant it.
We got to watch out for those bottoms.
I don't know. Do you?
I don't know. Do you?
I only see them when you're doing doggy style.
You only see when yours. Derek, do you have a camera in my room? What's happening here?
Are you getting doggy styled right now? All right.
That's not even close to what I was talking about there. I was saying that the camera in my bedroom. You're like, oh, bottoms. I only see it when you're doing doggy style.
You just don't really see the butt much during sex, except if you're doing.
You're referring to the general when you're aspect, because it made it sound like you only see bottoms when I'm doing doggy style is what it sounded like.
Oh, well, that's confusing, isn't it?
Yeah. A little bit.
All right.
You know what else is confusing? Here.
Do not panic. Do not panic. Cap them now. Cap them now. All right. For the 223 of you here now, make sure you like, subscribe, share it with your grandma. Zach McCabe. I like Zach. I have multiple updates on Chai Kaban. Source, USSF scout, likely from the U20 team, will attend one of his matches in the upcoming months. Puerto Rico has reached out to Kai.
I think it's
Kai. But a call up to the U.S. youth national team is his goal. Kai is still with Torrent U19 in Spain. He's a key player. He's waiting to be eligible for an EU passport, but he will be 18 next month. The director at Torrent FC believes Kai will have plenty of suitors this summer. He's weighing his options, but the goal for him is to get in the first team environment next season. Season.
There's more to talk about it as far as it's concerned.
Holy fuck.
Oh, Derek. It goes on and on and on and on and on. So he's a 10. He's a 10 type player, I guess.
Oh, good luck finding a team that will play you in that.
Yeah, well, maybe he's a 8/10. Who knows?
I don't know much about him. I wish him the best. Okay,
all I know is that there are a number of the known commenters on Twitter saying that he should choose Puerto Rico.
Okay, well then that's probably where he's going to end up. More than likely, he's got about a 2% to 3% chance of making our team anyhow. At this particular, where we are right now. So he's 18.
I'm curious to take your take on this, Derek. You're on the out. You're obviously it's going to be rough getting into the U.S. men's national team. His hopes is to make the U.S. youth national teams first foremost. But if you are a player that has U.S. and Puerto Rico citizenship, would you see yourself as a player actually opting to say play for Puerto Rico?
I would wait. I would try right up through my mid-20s to prove that I was worth USA medal. And when it became very obvious to me that I did not have it, I would go play for Puerto Rico. And
it's got to be tough to sit there and eventually decide to pick a team that virtually has no opportunity to ever make a World Cup in the end.
Yeah, but in the end, when you're like 26, He never been called up by the U.S. men's national team. You just say, fuck it. Listen, we've seen it with El Salvador. How many El Salvadoran players are American?
Sure. No, I hear you. No, but even to that point, though, El Salvador has been relatively competitive in the octagonal, at least. They were still at the bottom of the octagonal. Well, not bottom. Honduras was at the bottom of the octagonal, but they were at least competitive in that sense. You pick up a couple extra players, then all of a sudden, say 2026, when U.S., Mexico, and Canada are out of the equation, they might stand a chance.
At that point, it doesn't matter if you stand a chance or not. You're just going to go do it.
Yeah.
Right? It's extra soccer. It's a dream to play international football for a country, even if it's the second one of your choice. You go do it. You just go do it. So I'm sure we'll see that. He's not playing. I'm not saying he'll never play or be good enough, because I don't know this guy from a dick in the wall. But I will tell you this. Yes. I'm saying the dick's already in that hole. What I'm saying is the math is very bad for him. He's already 18 or about to turn 18. He's not wildly featured as a amazing future player for the U.S. And he's not Kevin Sullivan in any way. Nobody's barking about him 24/7. Not that that is relevant, but I just think by 18, 17, you probably should have made a dent somewhere. Really? And I just don't think that his percentage math wise, I just don't think his chances are high. I give him about a 3% chance. So I'm not shutting the door. I'm just thinking, I'm doing the math of the hundreds, thousands of players we have tracked in the last 10 years, 15 years. Yeah. You and I, they just don't work out. Most of them don't. Again, like 99% of them don't.
The odds of any youth player coming through the rankings and actually making to the big boy teams consistently in the end, it's such a small fucking number anyways.
It's tiny as hell. It's
you're looking at all the U17s in the past, and you're like, okay, well, 2 from this one, 2 from that one, 2 from this one. And there's always going to be some players that fell through the cracks, that worked their way up as consistent players that never really participated in the youth levels. But yeah, it is just, it's a rough road to fight for. And if he has that interest, then maybe there's some dog in him in the sense that maybe he could compete, but we'll see.
You were born with a micro penis and you want to be a porn star. That's what you're looking at right now.
There's markets for micro peen porn, I'm sure.
No, there isn't.
You occasionally see that pop up in the feed. You're like, oh,
no, I don't.
Dude with micro peen bangs 211s,
But it's not like a major porn production.
Oh, sure, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. He's shooting for the major porn production. Did you guys hear about the female porn star in Brazil that fell off the balcony and died while filming? Yes.
Somebody sent it to me. I don't know if it was Chris Gary or somebody, but
I did.
I forgot to bring it up, but yeah. While shooting a threesome scene, what were they doing on the balcony that ended up pushing her over him? So,
I would imagine one of her legs was up on the balcony ledge, the gate, and they just he pushed too hard. The gate broke. She fell to her death.
Yeah.
Those things aren't made for a 120-pound woman holding on to them while a 100 or 20-pound guy with a 8-inch dick pounds her. They're not made for that.
Yeah. Nobody got time for that either. Yeah.
Yep.
So
not made for that.
Well,
so sorry to hear it, but you know what? Better out going banging than crashing a plane. That's all I got to say.
Results the same. One has the dignity of clothes, I guess, but you're all burnt up. Yeah.
I mean, President Roosevelt went out. Franklin Roosevelt went out banging.
I didn't, but cool.
Yeah. He died having sex with his mistress.
But the line from Game of Thrones, like, and you half man, how do you want to meet your maker, or how do you want to die? He goes, in my bed at the ripe age of 80, with a bottle of wine and a woman's mouth around my cock.
Not bad.
There are worse ways to go, man. Just saying.
Franklin Roosevelt. All right. Someone asked which Roosevelt. Franklin.
Yeah, fair enough.
Where did the Franklin Roosevelt dynasty die? Like, how come there hasn't been another Roosevelt president? And there have been 2 Bushes already. 2 Adams. I don't know. Anyhow, let's move on. The night is still, not particularly young anymore, so we better move on.
Not young, and I got a turkey key upstairs to carve. So
yeah, so let's get on with this.
Transfer news. Who's getting monitored on transfer news? Who's getting over on transfer news? Transfer news. Everyone loves that transfer news, but me. Whatever.
Got a Norwich fan in the house.
Morning, guys. He says, just to let you know, Sargent plays for my club, and you guys don't pick him as the number 9 for us, then it will be one huge mistake. He's absolutely adored here. No, we get it. Trust me, we get it. We know how important Sargent is to Norwich.
Yeah,
and I made sure to say Norwich, not Norwich, even though it once was pronounced Norwich about 500 years ago, or 400 years ago. So yeah, we know it. We have praised him when he's been kicking ass like he's now. And we have been on his nuts early on when we didn't think he was demanding the ball. So
yeah.
Justin J. We got news about that. Yeah.
Still holding out for Germany.
So yeah, Sargent will probably be our starting center forward in the next friendlies because we're missing Pepe, we're missing Balogun. God damn.
I mean, Pepe's missing out on Nations League, and he's probably going to miss out on Gold Cup.
So Sargent's going to get a lot of opportunities. But
Sargent's going to get Nations League guaranteed, and where Ballo falls into the equation if he ever returns, from his shoulder injury that's lasted like 8 months now.
Yeah, and we've always said that, Sargent is like a cross between Pepe and Balogun, in the sense that he gives you everything you need in the box because of his size and physicality and his poaching sense. And at the same time, he can run between lines. We see it constantly at Norwich. We also see him deliver some wonderful through balls to teammates. And when Sainz gets back for Norwich, look out, because they're still banging at the door for promotion. Like, Norwich ain't out of it yet. It ain't over. There's plenty of games to go. If you get Sainz and fucking Sargent on that pitch, there's some damage possibilities there on your opponents.
Yeah.
So keep striving, guys. I don't think anybody's catching Leeds, though. I really don't.
No, but I mean, all they have to do is just make the playoffs, and then just hopefully, they start firing on all cylinders.
Yeah, I mean, it would suck to watch them in the playoffs again lose, like they did last season. But honestly, maybe they shouldn't have fired the manager, David Wagner. I don't think he did that bad of a job. I don't think he deserved to be fired. But the guy that took over is doing an all right job with a team that's been decimated by injuries all season.
Yeah, he's been without Sargent for a while now, and they got rid of the Sainz had the 6-game debacle.
The spitting thing, yeah.
So I mean, and he still maintained the team. He still kept the team in a reasonable location for a playoff spot. So
we're rooting for Norwich.
Yeah,
certainly. I haven't become like a Norwich supporter yet, and this pains me because this happens to me all the time. I fight against it. Like every team I watch a lot, in this case, Norwich, Leeds, I become a fan of too. I'm like, stop it, Derek. You can't be fans of Fulham, Norwich, Leeds. How many team fans? How many guys can you? How many teams
you'll never be confused for a bandwagoner. So you got that
exactly.
going. I'll say Norwich for me is what I would classify Leeds as for you, because I'll sit there and make sure, especially with I guess I'm really only watching if Sargent's able to play,
right?
But I'm always taking the time to watch Norwich play if Sargent's there over just about anybody.
Well, you will take note that in the season where all the Americans left Leeds, I still watch Leeds.
Yeah.
So that's when you know you're like hooked. You're like, okay, I'm hooked. Because I know all the players now.
I've only got limited time.
Yeah,
with me,
I don't
have your time, so I can't sit there and sacrifice.
Just so you know, Tom, my kids have graduated college and they're all in the world. Brett's are both what they're like 4 and 7,
6 and 10,
6 and 10. Okay, oh my God, holy shit, they keep getting older.
It's going by quick.
Mm-hmm.
Jackson's about to move up to more of a travel type program this spring. Hopefully he's going to try out and we'll see what happens. But every season I'm just seeing he's got the interest and the drive there. The physicality's got to catch up in the end, but once it does as a whole, he'll fucking ball eventually.
BMR says, I hope Leeds loses the promotion playoff. They're looking like they're just going to get in.
Playoffs? We're talking about playoffs for Leeds? No.
They're going straight in.
I think. Well, I say that, but they had 99 points last season, and they had to make the playoffs to that point. So who knows what happens this year? But
that's like that porn video title that says, no pussy, straight to the anal. I think they're going straight to the anal. They're going right up. I don't think anybody's going to catch them. All right. Justin Che to the second level of Belgium. Oh, Jesus Christ. I mean, I saw this post today and I was just like, it's crazy. Like, I don't even know who Patro Eisden is. Like, I don't know who this team is. It's a semi-professional team in the second division of Belgium. It's crazy. This is what we're talking about here. But this is what happens.
He's going to be on loan, I guess.
He went to Brøndby. He's not good enough for Brøndby. They're loaning him out to the second division of Belgium because he's not good enough for Brøndby. Listen, I'm not picking on the guy, but when the guy comes out, when he goes to Bayern and says, I hope the German national team's still interested in me, wink, wink. Come on, dude. Focus on your game. Like
that's what boggles my mind, because I mean he was at Bayern and Bayern were interested. Of course, things didn't work out that way, but Bayern were interested, and now we're sitting here talking about him getting loaned into the second Belgian league. I mean,
yeah,
what the fuck's happening? Is this another Julian Green incident?
No, it's worse. Way worse.
He has. Well, I'm just saying he hasn't quite had that flip. That aha moment, and decides to maybe I'm not the German and Bayern quality. Maybe I need to compete here and do this.
It's possibly that he has a lot of good technical capabilities and he's a physical specimen. He's just not a very good player. It happens sometimes. You ever run into a guy who had all the tools but was a total fucking moron on the pitch? He had no fucking goddamn common sense on the pitch. None. Zero. You're like, God damn, in practice, he looks great. But he's
the irony is I see more
moron on the field.
I see more of the opposite. I see clearly talented players that don't give a shit during practice that end up showing up for games. And then obviously you got to sit there as the coach and as the club and sit there like, well, I know he's performing at the game level, but he's being a downright D-bag during practices and stuff like that.
Okay, well, in my day at least, there were guys, Americans, so maybe this isn't fair, who would show up and they would, like, in practice, they looked like they could dribble, pass, but then when the game happened, they had no clue how games worked. Like zero, none, like actual competition. And yeah, I don't know what's going on with Justin Che, but we've been saying it for a while now, so this shouldn't come as a surprise to anybody here. But yeah, Justin Che's got issues. Let's just put it that way. All right, next. Let's not shit on him too much.
Yeah. Well, it's just like it's that meme of beating a dead horse,
Yeah, exactly.
U.S. Youth National Team goalkeeper Julian Eystone is named to the bench for Brentford this morning. Eystone, 18, joined Brentford this summer after one season with Duke University.
What kind of fucking name is Eystone? Is that English? It's got to be English.
Sounds awfully English, yes.
I mean, only because of the stone part, but Eystone?
Yeah, yes.
Quite interesting last name. Whatever. All right, well, good for him. He joined Brentford. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
That's all I got. Thank you, Tom. Don't bogart that joint, my friend. All right, moving on.
Moving on.
Good for Mr. Eystone.
Yeah.
Let's hear closing in on a deal, which Elijah Scott from Stuttgart as a new center back. Several clubs in Europe wanted Scott, but Lecce are set to sign 18-year-old German gem. Deal almost agreed. Is this guy American too?
He is.
With that last name.
Edgar pointed out, quote tweeted saying, the American and then German flag next to it. So
okay.
I think Edgar's been on par enough where I'm going to take his word for it.
Top talent from Stuttgart. I mean, top talent in the sense that he's never played for Stuttgart.
A talent. He's promising talented.
Yeah, maybe promising would be a better word.
Probably could have put that
instead
in there,
of top talent. Like
I think throwing in Wonder Kid in there somewhere would have been nice.
Wonder Jizz Kid, Elijah Scott from Stuttgart. Listen. Nobody's ever heard of him. He's never really played for Stuttgart except for the youth teams and the two teams. Yeah, but look, I guess we'll see what happens.
That's all we can say, right?
Yep.
Let's see what happens.
All right. This is by the way, the window's closed, so this is all we can give you. Brian Schroeder, regular guest on our show for a number of years. Good guy. And that is how he told us to pronounce his name, Schroeder. So that's how we're pronouncing it. Any of you want to correct us? You're wrong. He told us how to pronounce his name.
It's Schiaretta, of course.
I mean, it would be Schiaretta in Italian, but he says Schroeder. So there you go. All right. Watford in a promotional race, but has skidded badly. Yes, slightly. They have really skidded badly, including dropping their last 3 games. The good news is Wiley. So Caleb Wiley is going to Watford. Is that there needs to be changes to Watford's rotation, which is why they got him. It's up to Wiley to adjust quickly and show up ready. He has only played 266 minutes since leaving Atlanta last year. Yeah, because of injuries.
Yeah. Let's more context there. More context.
To be fair, the games he played for Sargent weren't bad. It wasn't bad. So I think he'll play. I think he will get some minutes. We'll see. And if he does well, get more.
He'll be given the opportunity. So I'm assuming, obviously, they're taking him on the loan that he is, in fact, healthy now and he's no longer injured. That'd be weird.
He will never play for Chelsea. Just saying.
Nope.
Riley will never play for Chelsea. He's a part of the Chelsea loan army. And until he finds a home that wants him permanently, let's say he stays at Watford, they get promoted. Maybe they make a bid for him if he was like one of the major guys that helped them get promoted. Other than that, he'll be back in another team next season. All right.
Yeah. Just getting cycled through. Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. Like a cheap whore at a porn gangbang.
Yeah.
All right.
Taylor Booth has left Utrecht and is on his way to Twente.
Step down slightly because Utrecht are looking like they're going to finish.
It's a step down this season, yes.
Because they look like they're going to finish top 4.
Yeah.
Really weird demise since his injury. And let's face it, Brett, we've seen this before. Player has multiple serious injuries, comes back, not the same player. Just not.
Yeah.
And usually it isn't going backwards and forwards, straight up and straight down and running back the other way. It's side to side. And believe me, that was Taylor Booth's strength, side to side.
And as one of our main topics here in the injury list is atrocious and how it continues to grow. The big question is, I mean, maybe it's just that we have more players. The pool is deepening as a whole in comparison to decades past.
Yep.
But man, I just do not recall this many injuries occurring to so many players.
No shit.
Are they just doing the wrong type of pregame stretches? Not the maybe they're all doing static stretches and they're not doing the
I don't know.
But something's got to go wrong.
I sent you a little clip this weekend because I went to the PSV game and I went to their injury list that was listed. And I clipped it and I sent it to you.
Yep.
It was all American. They're
all
only
American.
Only 3 injured players on the injury list. They're all American. Tillman, Pepe, and Dest. And now you can add Ledesma because he was pulled out in the 87th minute with an injury. I hope it's not serious. But it didn't look good. Didn't look horrible, but it didn't look good. So there could literally be in the next PSV game 4 players on the injury list on the actual report, PSV report, and they'll all be American. All of them. Every one of them. It was crazy. What's going on with us? We talk about DK. Okay, that's not something you can stop. But, we got players all over the place injured. Haji Wright. We've talked about it. Sargent's been injured this season. On top of, it's just been, and then Reyna. We talk about Reyna. Adams has had ups and downs. Now he's back, starting 90 minutes, game after game. Okay, good. How long is that going to last? We'll see.
Yeah.
But so many injuries. So many injuries. Yeah, it's crazy.
Taylor Booth's on his way out. Patrick Aguimon apparently has garnered interest from a number of championship teams as well as Ghent.
That makes sense. It's about his level. I think he's a Daryl DK impersonator, except bigger, taller. But Charlotte, they're not letting him go.
Charlotte says, not for sale.
Well,
it's fair. They've had him for 1 season, and they kind of want to hold on to him. I understand where Charlotte's coming from. They got 2 more plus 2 more seasons available to them, so they don't have to sell right now.
They don't. If you're Agamon at his age, this is your prime time to go, though. That's the problem.
He's 24, isn't he?
24.
Yeah.
You got to go now.
If he plays out most of his MLS contract and they sell him, the earliest he's going to go to Europe is going to be like 26.
Yeah. San Fran says DK is the biggest man alive. He's big, but he's not taller than Aguimon. I believe that Aguimon's taller. So.
And Aguimon has 2 working kneecaps. So there's that.
Yeah, that's another thing. Yeah, absolutely. So we'll see what happens here from Aguimon. I would have been like, what, could you just let me go to the championship? I would have liked to go on. So that's probably disappointing for him. But play another season in MLS, score a lot of goals. The fee will go up. Maybe others will come and try to get you again. We'll see.
Yeah. Well, again, though, at that point, his age is going to play a factor, quite frankly.
Derek doesn't know athleticism, says Johnny. Yes, I do. That is Patrick Aguimon in a basket.
Somebody mentioned how is like, well, we could bring in Aguimon and we'd have a true target striker. I'm like, actually, his hold-up play was like the weakest aspect I saw.
Absolutely the weakest.
Camp Cupcake. He's not a target striker. He has the build for a target striker, but he's not a target striker, guys. At all.
He cannot hold up the ball like Sargent or Pepe. And by the way, he's probably better than Balogun, who does not hold up the ball. He's a different type of striker, period. But yeah. Tom, thank you for this. Another one from Tom. Don't bogart that joint.
We got more Tommy coming up here.
No shit. He's smoking all the doobies tonight.
We got the MLS talk. This is Jack McGlynn, who a lot of talk about him going to Europe. And that's one reason why, he's getting calls up here and playing at Camp Cupcake so that he can hit that threshold. Well, apparently Union sold him, but to Houston Dynamo.
By the way, Nate says Derek has said Busio has 0 future with national team. That's true. I did say that.
And he ate crow for it too, guys. So,
and I do think that it's still an uphill battle for him with all the other midfielders we have. But I do think he's got
the spots are super fucking limited. You have a guy who's starting in Syria, doing well in Syria, and we're sitting there going like, he might not make the call up.
I give him a shot though.
The midfield stuff, guys. But to your point, Nate, Derek gave him no chance, and then Derek came back and said, "Hey, I was wrong. I'm eating crow," and he ate crow.
I did. Now I never posted that officially onto Twitter or anything, but I did say it on the show.
It was on our show. Yeah, you even ate a chicken wing.
I did eat a chicken wing. Yep. So when we're wrong, even if it's a small little tiny thing like that, we will eat chicken wings. We will eat crow on this show. We will, when we get it wrong, we'll eat crow. Period. We do not shy away from our false predictions. And in that case, it was a prediction and it was wrong. All right.
Yeah, that's the tough thing as far as making a prediction about like a 19, 20-year-old.
Yeah, because the show that we did that on was players you should just write off right now or something like that.
In your defense, he was struggling to even make consistently a star in a Serie B team at that point.
He was struggling big time. So
and he hadn't been overly impressive with the best team before that. So it's understandable you come to that conclusion.
I think it's the only one I got wrong so far. But I wrote off all the other guys I wrote off they stand true. I think there was like 9 of them, 9 other ones, because I think we did 10. And they're all true. They all just write them off. Okay. They're not playing for the USMNT national team ever again. Period. All right. Jack McGlynn going to Houston. Yeah. Here's what I think about that. And I'm Durkin. I just think that what a waste. Now's the time to go get out, but apparently there wasn't a whole lot of interest.
Well, and that's the thing. I'm looking at this going, is this overall new contract, or are they selling the as-is contract already to Houston?
It's a sale.
We saw the likes of Acosta go into whichever LA team it was instead of going to Europe. But his contract didn't change. And same thing happened with Miles going to FC Cincinnati.
Yeah, but
Acosta didn't change.
Acosta was already old. This is a young guy. Guy, yeah. And a young guy you're thinking needs to start if he's really itching at 26 and 30 to get over there now, right?
Yeah.
He's not getting any younger, and he's not old. But go do it. He did have Serie B interest. There was other interest that was posted.
Sure, and it comes down to the price. And I think the interested team was here. It was Cecina?
That's Klinsman's team.
I think that was the team that's interested.
Yeah, I think that's Klinsman's team. Mm-hmm.
So,
but hey, go play at Houston. I'm sure they're going to pay him a shitload.
Sure.
So I guess
he's gonna be getting 10% of the $2 million transfers, so he's gonna get at least $200,000 just to go there. Period.
It's a sweet ass left foot. That is a fucking rocket of a fucking left foot. Now, can you translate that somewhere else besides MLS? Don't know. I don't know.
Chambers is asking if the offer was half of what Philly did, but it was actually I think it was the exact same offer, quite frankly, or relatively close to it, if I recall correctly, from what people were saying about it.
I'm surprised they could match that. By the way, we're at 269. 272. My bad. We just popped over it, but we did catch 269 giggity.
Stupid dummy.
Well done, guys. Well done. Make sure you if you're there's 300 of you on every show. There should be 250 likes. I just, the fuck is going on here? All right. There were 300 over the last show. We got to 320. We had I think it ended at 180 likes. What, you don't like the show? You're watching it? for, I don't know, 3 hours? You don't like it? I don't know. All right. This is the start of a generational comeback none of you have ever seen before. I can't read that, but Matthew Hoppe went somewhere. This Underjiski. Good luck to him. I have my personal reasons for wishing him the best, and the whole Hoppe family. They're good people. They're really good people. So.
I'm just honestly surprised at this point that maybe there was no interest in MLS, but I was honestly surprised he just didn't make his trip back to the U.S. at this point.
Oh, by the way,
You gotta rebuild.
Captain Magnitude says 111 watching. That's just wherever you're watching from. We're on YouTube and X. So we see the total number.
Yeah.
It's currently 275. So maybe more people watching on X and or YouTube. I don't know where you're watching from. All right. Jordan Pifak leaves the Union for Stade de Reims. That's going back to where you started, brother. His boyhood club.
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah. Listen, something happened. That first season with Union Berlin was absolutely great with all the chemistry he had with the other guys there, and they're all gone now. They're all gone. Most of them are gone. And, yeah, he just seemed to peter out. All confidence lost. Watching him this season, and I've watched plenty of them, he just didn't get a lot of chances. It's not like he missed a lot of chances. He just didn't get a lot of chances. Didn't get himself in the right places. Yeah, I think that's pretty much the end for PFOC. I think his time at the national team is over.
I mean, we're talking about Vasquez over him at this point, and we're talking. People are even bringing up Aguiman as the follow-up behind Vasquez before after that one window. So
I mean, unless he goes to the league and just tears shit up all of a sudden out of nowhere, regains his confidence, scores a shit ton of goals game after game, but I just don't see it happening. It was really painful to watch, Chambers. It was. Watching those Union Berlin games, first of all, not exciting football. And I got no connection with the team, really. My mom has more of a connection than I did. She grew up in Berlin. I just couldn't get that excited. And it was painful to watch. All right, what else we got? We got
apparently 2 Spanish clubs have shown interest in Brandon Vasquez.
Who just signed with Austin?
And that's the weird thing about all this, right?
It's a loan.
Austin just got him for like 10 mil. And 2 Spanish clubs are vying for him
for loan.
Well, I mean, at least one's a loan. I'm not sure if the other one is. I'm not sure if Celta Vigo is.
So it'd go play there through the rest of the season?
remaining of the season. You're right.
Like through March, April, come back in April-ish?
Well, I mean, the rest of the season would put you into May.
Yeah, I don't know. That seems weird.
Yeah,
to me. I mean, I just don't see it. But yeah, I don't know what to say. I mean, is the window officially closed in Spain, or they got another day? I don't know.
No, European window I thought ended today.
It did, but there's some exceptions.
I guess maybe if you have filed before some specific time period today, maybe. But
they're different dates for different countries. I know England, this is dead set at the end, but you know, occasionally
I can't imagine what Austin would get out of this.
Nothing.
They just spent $10 million to bring him in, and they're going to loan him for like the first half of their season.
An injury? This is what they get out of it?
Maybe best.
I mean, you want an injury?
It's not going to happen. This there may have been interest. I'm not doubting that. I doubt the fact that that Austin just spent $10 million on that there would ever be any conversation as far as a 6-month loan.
Celta Vigo needed to get on this pot 3 months ago, take down their drawers and get settled in and take a shit, and they just didn't. Yeah. And now it's really late in the game. They're waiting until the last second if this is in fact true. It is a rumor. He puts rumor, which any asshole can make up a rumor. any asshole on X can just pump out a rumor like this. So I don't know how much I believe it. I'm not saying he's wrong. I'm not saying he's an asshole. I'm just saying any asshole can make up this. I'm sure Isaiah is a fabulous person.
He's partnered with Goals TV.
Okay. Well,
he probably has some inside understanding there, but I couldn't imagine this ever going down. So,
yeah, who knows? I doubt it.
Just what it is.
All right, for the 285 of you are here on X and YouTube, make sure you like, subscribe, share it with your grandma. All right, Emmanuel Sabi might be coming to MLS after a disastrous season so far in League One. It hasn't been good. I don't know about disastrous. I think disastrous looks worse than what I have actually seen from him this season.
A nothing burger season. How about that? Is that better?
Just a big nothing burger. Yeah.
Apparently Vancouver is the team vying for him. The agreement is set for €1 million.
Not a bad deal if they can get that done, and it's about the right amount. But I mean, no offense to American Ultra Stock, they do good work. I just would use different words. I'd say disastrous is really harsh, and I'd say it's been meh. M-E-H. Yeah. M-E-H, meh. It's been not much. When I watched the highlights and some of the other pieces I've been able to watch from Lavre, I'm he's all right. He's all right. He's okay. He's not blowing my dick off. Not even close.
So Chambers says the Vasquez rumor came from a Celta Vigo podcast.
Okay. Well, that doesn't seem like a reliable source. No. I'm sorry. It doesn't. I don't know the podcast. Maybe they always get everything right there. Who knows?
Yeah.
But I doubt they're like us. We only report shit that, for the most part, when we do put out a tweet or something really solid, we don't go with rumors. Most of the rumors we report on here, we shit on. All right.
So, WhoScored.com's Twitter handle came out with a breakdown of Anthony Robinson's season, statistically calculated. And I want to go over the breakdown. Have you seen this yet?
Nope.
All right, let's talk about Anthony Robinson or Jedi's strength. Ball interception.
He's great at crossing with his left foot. Yep. Not as right.
It's better. Yes, I'll agree. And dribbling.
Okay. Dribbling with open space for sure. He's not dribbling past two guys that are right on his ass. No, not happening.
Yeah.
He's not taking on two guys and passing by them and dribbling through their legs or whatever. And no. But yeah, he's still got weaknesses. The X on weaknesses is crazy. He is probably the best left back right now in the EPL, like overall, because unlike Trent Arnold, he can actually play defense.
I can dribble in open space, LOL.
Well, yeah, but you can't dribble as fast as he can.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a fair assumption to make.
In open space, Anthony Robinson with the ball at his feet, dribbling in open space is a killer.
So the X next to weakness isn't saying anything. Obviously, the check mark saying, hey, these are his strengths and these are his weaknesses. What do you think his weakness is?
Right foot, still not great. A little heavy first touches occasionally. But listen, I'm nitpicking. I'm really nitpicking. I'm a Fulham fan. I fucking love Jedi. And it's crazy because I like Jimenez too. And he's a Mexican because I'm a Fulham fan and have been for 20 years. So I think this is like one of the best seasons I've seen from a back in the Premier League. Since Trent Alexander-Arnold had 13 assists in a season. And I think that at 10, Jedi still has a chance to catch him and pass him. But that first touch with the right foot in particular is his weakness. And you see it. You see a lot less, though, now. A lot less. It used to be all the time. I was watching the Fulham games 2, 3, 5 years ago. Very frustrating. It's not there as much anymore. He's smarter about it. But yeah, it can still be on the right foot trap, a little bit of a brick. But boy, the left foot crossing has been amazing. The crosses are on point. And it's just been such a positive for us. Oh shit, I shouldn't say us. For Fulham. And well, I'll just say fuck it. Everybody knows I'm a Fulham backer.
So Johnny says passing is a weakness. San Fran says passing range.
Could be. I don't ever see him make like switching field passes, if that's what you're talking about. No, he doesn't do that. I'd agree.
He did a little bit of that in the last post U.S. Men's National Team match when he was covering in as a 6. He was changing the point of attack quite a bit.
That's true. Now, I would say also for Poach, we also learned that he can handle the tight space control against weaker opponents. Now, in the Premier League, they don't ask him to play as a 6 when everybody else is forward like Poach did. If they did, I think we'd see that to be somewhat problematic, which I sort of surprised that Poach had him there. I was like, he's not a holding mid. Like, if he gets pressured, he's going to lose it. But he was smart about it. And, so still some minor tight space issues. But, boy, that's gotten so much better, too.
Mm-hmm.
So much better than it used to be. So is it a weakness? Yes, but it went from a weakness that was like a 10-point weakness to like a 4. Like, as far as a weakness goes, it's not up there in like a major weakness area. So he's gotten better across the board. Like, I have enjoyed this whole season watching this Fulham team. All I need is an American center forward or American midfielder to be on this team, and I'll be extremely happy. But I am happy as I am. And I think it's fair to say that Anthony Robinson, if not the best left back in the EPL, certainly very close to it.
All right. Well, hard to argue with this season, and quite frankly, what he's done with the U.S. Men's National Team. I mean, he's been pretty good. I mean, you can nitpick certain things. I still think his crosses need work. He's improved. Don't get me wrong, and especially when he starts playing his lower crosses driven across the box back towards the PK spot.
Yep.
That's where he's thriving more, in my opinion.
Yep.
His lob crosses are what needs work, in my opinion. That's my take.
I'd agree with you on that.
But according to WhoScored.com, Jedi's weaknesses were he had no significant weaknesses. Like it's calculated statistically, and if you're looking at just the stats, maybe you're sitting there going like, well, he's not really weak anywhere. He's doing good across the board because this is one hell of a fucking season. But that sounds like somebody who doesn't actually watch the games or watch him play.
Exactly.
He's not perfect. He's having a great season. He's doing well, but he's not perfect.
And, they don't even take into his personal weaknesses, which are he cannot go to sleep without having a late night blowjob every fucking night.
Off the field weaknesses every night. Yep, 100%.
That's a lot of work for his girlfriend every single night for him to get to sleep. So
yeah. Let's see what's
all right.
up.
What do you got next?
Oh, as US Eyes and Vibes said, his first touch is his weakness. It's the same thing. And I brought this up because I was going to bring up the fact that I brought up crossing and people agreed with that.
Right foot specific on first touch, by the way.
Yeah.
Right foot specific. He often, I think Colin may have mentioned this, catches it too low. Has some backspin. So it's the right foot generally where the weakness comes in with the first touch. But generally, well, I got no complaints. I've enjoyed the whole season so far.
McKenzie cracked Team of the Week with his goal-scoring performance.
He fucking should have. And by the way, anybody that hasn't known or isn't following, and I'm sure most of you are, but Mark McKenzie is kicking ass and taking names in Liga.
And he's all out of bubble gum.
And it could be very possible that we see Mark McKenzie leaving in the near future for a bigger team in France than Toulouse. So we'll see how that works out. But great season from him. Great season, great times that he's had when he's played for the U.S. men's national team recently, too. We've seen him be able to move forward, kick through balls. I see a new confidence in this guy. And you cannot underestimate how important confidence is. You can't.
BMR says, good, because we have no CBs.
All right. Well, to be fair to Richards, he came back from injury and looked really rusty. But fucking A, I had the game on the screen here and finished it out.
Yeah,
that game,
he had a good performance. Yeah,
that game against Man United, he played like a motherfucker. He just cooked, as who said that? Wes Smith said. He just cooked. Yeah. And I think this is the Richards we'll see the rest of the season. I think coming back from injury, anybody that's been injured for 2-3 months, man, it takes some time. You're not going to come back and play that great. You just aren't. It's going to take a while. All right. I'm not going to do Yanks Abroad tonight.
Oh, okay. Nice. No. Like I said, I've got a turkey upstairs sitting in its own juices. I need to go up and carve. So
I mean, listen, I could say Pulisic had a meh game. Musa had a good game, pulled out in the 78th. Weah had an assist, which was a shot that bounced off another player.
Yeah.
McKennie had a meh game.
It said that the meh game came when he actually played in the midfield.
We already talked about Sargent having a goal. And the win for Norwich. We talked about Aronson already. He had 70 minutes and a goal in a blowout game. Scally did his usual Scally things, nothing important. Noah Kai Banks played again. I'm just picking the big ones. Yeah. Noah Kai Banks scored an own goal, not his fault. In that game versus James Sands, by the way, I have to say, I do have to admit this. James Sands was good. He was really good for St. Pauli. Really good. I mean, I'm impressed. Really impressed. Reyna.
Go ahead, finish your Reyna talk.
Reyna, 3 whole fucking minutes. Paxton Aronson, fucking amazing. 90 minutes in the time.
I thought Tolkien was relatively meh, but again, it was against who are they playing? Were they playing Bayern?
I didn't think he was that bad. He didn't look out of place.
I didn't watch the last half of the second half. But I stopped watching. It was like 4-0, and I'm like, fuck.
It wasn't horrible.
But yeah, Holstein almost came back against Bayern. That was hysterical. I was like, oh my god, it was 4-3 at the end. You got to be fucking kidding me. They got 2 90-plus minute goals, but still.
Yeah, Adams is back to beasting it, even though Bournemouth finally lost a game. I thought he looked pretty damn good. He got elbowed in the fucking face and kicked in the took a fucking soccer ball to his nutsack.
Thanks, Tim. Thanks, Tim. I appreciate that.
Yeah, 45 minutes and assist, and then an injury. It could be. I don't know. He seemed fine. They sit 13th out of 16th team. So I'm basically doing the Yanks Abroad, but I'm just cutting through it. Blah, blah, blah. Let's see who else. Of course, Matt Turner wrote 90. Pine. Bello, he won, went 90. Dietz, injured.
Yeah, you're going too deep now.
Julian Green, assist though. Got to give him that. Let's see. What else? Important. Nothing else. All right. Well, a lot of guys played. I would say about 67 players this weekend.
We didn't cover it while we talked about Tim after he got his assist and everything, but he has a quote where he says, I can help the team, and that's the most important thing. I can even play goalkeeper for this team. If the coach asks me, I'll do it. I'm just happy to wear the Juve jersey.
Yeah, he ended up playing back.
Right back, yeah.
Yeah, right back. Way up. And McKennie ended up playing like almost a CAM / box-to-box guy in that game. And way up, Kenny, I don't know. It just seems like it was all in the wrong places at the wrong time when they needed him to be somewhere else. You know, it was kind of like Pulisic this weekend. It's like, oh shit, you could have been there, but you were over there instead. You were like not where the action was happening. So yeah, but we'll see what happens. We got Santi Jimenez coming into AC Milan, right? And the other big one was João Felix.
Yep, João Felix. Yep.
Let's see how they fit in. So Santi would be another center forward option, and João Felix would be the replacement at CAM that they've often had to play the former Chelsea guy in, the hyphenated guy, forgot his name. It hasn't really worked out, right? So let's see. I mean, the João Felix guy's been pumped up. His stick's got to be bigger than the fucking, Empire State Building at this point. But it's all rod and no pleasure. Nobody's gotten any pleasure out of this guy. Not Atletico Madrid, not Chelsea. Wherever he's gone, just hasn't quite worked out for him. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. So, Kerr on X.
Loftus Cheek, thank you, Al Weinstein, is the guy they've been trying to chunk in at that CAM spot. Not been working.
So Kerr brings up a screen cap from Alexi Lawless's video recently, talking about we're 500 days away from the World Cup and where are we at with under Poach's system and where we should be at, type of thing. And he goes, I know this is for clicks, but I'll bite. Moose at the tin. Come on, man. Oh, you
no.
Let me scroll down instead.
No.
So he's got Turner, Dest, Zimmerman, Ream, Jedi.
Is this recent?
Yes.
For
like his most recent show.
Starting 11 for the World Cup?
Yes.
Oh, fucking get out of here, dude.
So he's got Jedi, Ream, Zimmerman, Dest in the back line. Then he's got McKinney Adams playing the dual pivot. Pulisic, Musa, Weah, and then Pepe.
Okay. I don't care about Turner, but this Zimmerman shit has got to stop. It's got to fucking stop, Brett, and it's got to stop now. Zimmerman is not starting. Like, this is a Disneyland fucking lineup. This is exactly what we're fucking talking about. Alexi, come on, man. What the fuck is this shit?
I mean, Zimmerman makes it if there's injuries, right? But you got to imagine at this point, you're looking at the likes of, well, where's McKenzie? Why is he not starting over Zimmerman?
Richards, McKenzie.
So, Zimmerman's the one of the standouts as far as big question marks on this 11, but he has Moose starting at the top of the three or the cam role in this 4-2-3-1. And he had mentioned how it's just how the TV setup has the setup or whatever. I think he wants to go to 4-3-3. So he wants MMA in the midfield is what he wants.
Okay, so they often fuck these guys.
Yeah,
often on these shows because they got some fucking small-minded, harebrained fuckface running the fucking lineup maker for the show who knows nothing about soccer. Then they just post some bullshit up and they're like, oh shit, we got to justify this? Because Musa ain't playing CAM.
No.
He's got no creativity. He is not a final third passer, finisher, anything. So that ain't happening. Just a video board. He's a traditional midfield 3, relax. And that ain't happening either, by the way. Yeah. MMA ain't happening, folks.
Well, and
it's not happening.
Kirk goes on to say, I appreciate getting back to me. Thoughts on Gio in the midfield? And he goes, it depends on the opponent, but who will you take out? And I said, well, in a 4-2-3-1, I'm taking out Musa.
Mm-hmm.
It's not hard for me.
Right.
And that's not to bag on Musa by any means. I'm just simply saying that in that 4-2-3-1 the format that he has up here, I'm taking Moose out. And I'm putting Gio in. Plain and simple. However, this brings us back to our other talking point when we talk about the U.S. men's national team, and that's the overall formation as a whole. Are we going to, when Des comes back, are we going to revert back to a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-3-3, or are we going to continue going to that three back center back role, jumping all the way back to the very beginning of the show when this comment came out?
I don't know the answer yet.
We haven't seen enough to figure that out yet.
And we haven't seen even Des come back for PSV yet. So I think we're going to have to wait. But I like what we were doing with Poach so far with the back 3/5. And this is why Pete is wrong. It was a back 3 for Poach on most of the games. If not, why are we dropping back into a back 5 on offense or defense? I'm sorry. That's a telltale sign of what we ended up saying played like a 3-2-4-1. I think that's
something like that, yeah.
On offense, and fell back to a 5. I can't remember what it was, a 5-4.
It doesn't matter at that point.
It doesn't matter, but the bottom line is there are 5 in the back. 5 in the back.
So I mean, there was no argument. I think come Nations League, I don't think anything's going to change because I don't think Des is going to magically spring up by that time. I mean, he might be getting back into the groove of things at PSV. That'll be seen. He's back to training at least, but until that happens, we don't have a viable Jedi on the right-hand side that's going to be doing what Jedi does.
The only thing that would happen is Des would take Moose's role. Des would
the Musa role in that setup. Yes. Well, that's true.
If in a back 3, he would take the Musa role away from Musa.
Yes.
And he'd be a lot more offensive than Musa.
Oh, yeah. That'd be nice to see him just have less defensive responsibility and more offensive. Now,
whether Scally's one of the back 3, that's a whole nother question. And Pete's argument was, he was a right winger or a right back that was just looked like a right center back. No, he fucking played as a right center back the whole fucking game. Period. End of story.
Yeah.
He just did. And that Musa played as a right wing back who dropped back all the way to the right back spot on defense. We played a back 5 on defense with Poach. So that is 3 in the back. I'm sorry. We just disagree with Pete. And guess what? Not a big deal. Pete knows I love him. And he's not going to have a hard time taking a disagreement here.
Even Colin's backing up Pete in this situation by saying there is no back 3 under Poach.
Oh, he backed up Pete. Oh, that's fine.
Yeah. He backed up Pete.
He hates me. That's okay. Doesn't matter.
So, but I don't know how you could possibly look at it. In the attack, it was obvious that we were playing with the 3 back. And then in the defense, Musa got back, Jedi got
all
back.
All the way back.
We were playing with a 5 in the back on the defense.
Yes.
And I don't care what formation pops up on the screen. And they're saying, well, we're playing a 4-3-3. And you start watching the match, you're like, no, we're not. We're not really playing a 4-3-3. We're not playing a 4-2-3-1. We're not doing any of that shit. Because Jedi was never in that role in the attack. So
how tucked in was Joe Scally?
Yeah.
Joe Scally was tucked in like a motherfucker in that back 3.
He never pushed up. So
never.
Again, I guess it depends on how you want to look at what is consistent of a back 3 in that situation, because the lineup never came out saying, hey, we're playing with the back 3. But when we're actually playing the game in the attack, it was absolutely a back 3. Scally never pushed up into the attack. It was just, there was nothing there.
No, he played in a back 3. Period. End of story. You can't call him a right back if he never gets up the pitch. You can call Musa a right wing back, which is what he was. You can call Jedi a right wing back /
or left wing back.
a left wing back / CDM on offense.
/8 at times.
Yeah. But you can't call this a back four. I'm sorry, you can't. You just can't do it in any way.
Nope.
Like not watching how soccer is played today. That's not how it works, especially when you watch the transition into defense and you look into the 5 block in the back. Jedi playing left wing back, Musa playing right wing back, and then Scally and the 2 center backs, other center backs playing center back. Sorry, that's 3 in the back with 2 wing backs who drop back to play defense when they're on the defense. That is classic 3 in the back. And there's no way around that. So, Pete, I love you, but you're just wrong, brother. You're just wrong. And you know what? Some of this might be semantics, and I'm fine with that. We had that argument with Jimmy Conrad years ago.
I'd be curious to go to the video and find out exactly how he describes it. That it's not a back 3.
I watched it today.
How was he describing it then?
He just said basically Scally was the right back who just played really defensively all game. Well, if that was the case, he would have been so fucking tucked in. And boy, was he tucked in to the back 3.
Well, I mean, in that match, who were we playing in that match?
I don't care.
Doesn't matter, I guess. Was it Jamaica?
Who cares?
But regardless, in that match, we had possession like 80% of the fucking of the match.
Right.
How could why would Scally be sitting back so far? If his role was to get up into the attack just like Jedi, or just as a back is considered, why was he sitting back so far during that match? There'd be no reason unless Poach said, hey, Scally in the attack, I want you to sit back and add more defensive pressure in case we get the counter on us.
And not only was Scally playing right center back on defense with a right wing back to his right with Musa, on offense, he sat in a back 3 with 2 midfielders in front of him. One of them was Jedi playing alongside the other CDM in a 3-2-4-1 or whatever you want to call that. And then the players just intermixed. But never did Joe Scally leave the right center back position. Never did he venture out wide. Never did he do much dick of anything except sit back in that back 3. Okay, did he venture forward a couple times? Yes, he did. All right, I'll take that back. But most of the game, no. He sat back with that back 3. That is a classic back 3. I'm sorry. That's what that was. All the interchanging of positions, beautiful, wonderful to watch. Poach, let these guys be creative. That's what we wanted. That's what we got in the story. All right, we better move on to the final segment at some point.
Yeah. Obviously, we talk about Pepe's injury.
BMR says so. Jedi was the center mid. No, he played left wing back, but when the ball was on the far upper right side, he would tuck in as a CDM, and even as Brett mentioned, play an 8 role up with the other midfielders. Like Jedi got free roam when the ball was on the far right side, far right up the field to do a lot of things.
Careful with that arm going up, Derek.
Wonderful to watch. No hand was open. We all know how much I hate the H-man.
So the main topic, are you talking about the good soccer journos topic?
Yeah.
Okay. Because we did talk about Pepe's injury, and he's going to be out until maybe like for 5 months is what they predicted, or they're predicting.
Yeah.
So, he's out for a moment. So this that injury list is just ever growing, man. Sucks.
No, we talked about it earlier.
Yeah.
I mean, it's ridiculous. It's long, and when you look at the PSV list, when I went to the next week, I hope it's next game. I hope it's not all 4 of them. I mean, add insult to injury, you could add Baraktarovic to it, right? That'd be 5 actual Americans on the list, although Baraktarovic switched to Bosnia, so we don't have him anymore. So it is what it is. So, yeah, And so one of the themes of the show was obviously talk about journos, mainstream journalists that you can trust. And we only bring this up because there are some. And there's some that we're friends with and we've known for a long time. And some we've just kept in touch with. But I want to mention some of them because it's a battle. A lot of them are worried about their access to U.S. soccer. And so you're just not going to get a lot of good information. But I do think there are guys out there writing shit that generally you can depend on. One of those guys for sure is a buddy of ours. I would consider him that. We're not best friends with him, but, we stay in regular contact with Lawrence Dockery. I think he's a really respectable journalist. Covers a lot of the women's soccer stuff because he got shut out from U.S. soccer. Used to cover U.S. soccer truthfully. And that's what happens when you cover it truthfully, honestly, unfortunately. Brian Schroeder, I think, just does a good job of riding the line between being obstinate. But I think everybody knows that Brian's just out to get a good story and get the truth. Still wondering why Brian, nobody's brought up Nathaniel Brown yet. Still waiting for that. So Brian Schroeder, I think another guy you can depend on. Stephen Goff, often dependable at the Washington Post. Long time guy. I mean, I've kept in touch with him here and there through social media over the years. But a guy who's very serious about his work, and he's not going to, he's certainly not going to do anybody's bidding. Let me just put it that way. He's a serious person. Meg Swanek, who we've had on this show 3 times, I think, at this point. But I don't know how much access Meg's going to get going forward, as Meg has been hampered by her ultra serious questions to U.S. soccer during the Berhalter era. Maybe now we got poached. Maybe they'll open back up and let her back in. We'll see. And then Brian Strauss, who we haven't heard from for a while, but Brian Strauss did produce that article before the snow game against Costa Rica. You'll remember that question Jurgen Klinsmann. I will only say this, though. I think questioning Jurgen Klinsmann was okay. I think U.S. Soccer Press was okay with that for whatever odd reason. And we know some of those reasons, what they are. But I do think that Brian Strauss wrote that groundbreaking article about the turmoil in the Klinsmann locker room. Of course, they went on to win that Costa Rica snow game and qualify for the World Cup and do all right. And then lastly, I'm still open to others. I haven't shut the door. We started a conversation with Doug McIntyre, and I'm happy to talk to Doug more. I'm not shutting everybody out. There are people that ask regularly stupid questions. I'm not going to point out who they are, but we have on the show before when they have asked stupid questions. And there are questions that need to be asked that a lot of people aren't asking. So I'd like to see that happen. So I don't think, like Klinsmann, that Poach is a sacred cow. And I also don't think Poach is as uncomfortable in his own skin like Klinsmann, or like Berhalter was. You're not going to see that.
That's its own category, Derek. Nobody's going to be in that category.
Yeah. Berhalter, one of the most uncomfortable characters in his own skin. In his heart, Berhalter felt like a fraud. And so every jab, every criticism was so personal to him. Poach is just going to do that. He'll move on. Berhalter took everything to heart. And you know that. And you know he read the criticism. And you know he watched the shows. But because he barks about it in his personal appearances now. This guy said this. And these guys were all saying that when he says these guys, he's talking about Pete, Tact, us, blah. Like we know that he's heard it. So, yeah, I think we got a different guy now. I think we got a guy who can take questions. We may not be able to understand all his answers, but I think generally, I just listed guys you can trust. I really like Jonathan. Henry's another guy. I like him too. Henry Jr., guy that writes for SBI. So that's another guy you can trust, I think, generally to do good work. But, we'll see.
So it's like, because we talked about some mainstream media people. Some people refer to them as shills, whereas we might say they're compromised. Not saying that they're shills or anything like that. I did want to bring up one example of somebody who's compromised, but most of his takes are fine.
Okay.
By all means. And that's bring up a comment here by Taylor Twellman.
I certainly compromised in an MLS way.
Yes. And that's why I'm bringing this up. Because so Hernandez is leaving the crew and he's going through the P's. And he goes, their coaching and style of play improved the player to La Liga level.
We'll see about that.
Well, as Holden jumps into the conversation.
Oh no!
It says, well, he's played in more La Liga regular season games than MLS at this point in his career. So,
yeah, so I don't think that MLS
really build him up to a La Liga player, or did maybe gain some interest from some La Liga teams. But
God, this is so good by Stu.
Yeah,
this is really good, and all I've done so far in the last 3 years of this show is shit and piss all over Stu Holden. This is utter genius. Stu Holden, major fucking points. Wow. Stu Holden, you're my boy again. This is brilliant.
Boy.
I love you calling out Taylor Twellman and say, well, he's already been in La Liga, dumbass. That's basically what he just said. He's played more La Liga games already, dumbass, than he's played MLS games. So MLS didn't do dick squat poo to make him a fucking La Liga player. He's already been there, dumbass. Wow. Love it, Stu. More of this, Stu Holden. More of this. This is fucking brilliance. This is genius. This is like fucking a guy who's bent over, who's all numb and drunk and doesn't even realize you're entering his colon. What fucking genius this is. Wow. All right, and we're going to end the show at 269.
Yeah.
Giggity. Oh, sorry.
And ending with a solid praise of Stu Holden. So this is a first for everything, I guess.
And think of we're now up to 175. The 4 people who just missed that quote.
Yeah.
They just missed it.
A hell of a great analogy there, man. It's just painting that picture, Derek.
Well done. This is the best thing Stu Holden's ever done as an analyst. This is just immensely amazing. He just bent Taylor Twellman over the bench and said, here, I'm just going to poke you gently. Nope. No, I'm just going to plug this right in. Sorry, buddy. No lube.
Yeah, that brings us to that compromise topic that we just talked about. We're like, Twellman's getting paid by MLS, and he's fluffing him up nicely.
Oh, my God. Stu, can we get back in touch and, smooth over our disagreements? Because I want you on the show now. Oh, I've never seen a better pegging of Taylor Twellman than that. And I don't hate we like Tight Shirt on this show. He even knows his name's Tight Shirt. We gave him that name. 10 years ago, 12 years ago, whatever it was. Yeah. He knows his nickname because we've mentioned it before, and he's liked the post where we call him Tight Shirt Twellman.
Yeah,
all right.
He's not like the kids out there. He likes to tuck it in, man.
He likes to tuck it in, keep it like vacuum packed on his body in his playing days. All right, that's going to do it for tonight. We will be back on Thursday for God know whatever. I don't know what reason, but we will be back.
We'll find one.
We will find a reason. We will be back. We'll be set and packed. We'll bring our cups to protect our testes. And make sure you give your stepsister much love, because her enduring this whole 2-hour and whatever minute show this has been, 25-minute show, you know what? Your stepsister must love you for watching this whole show with us. And, especially since she doesn't really know that much about U.S. men's soccer stuff yet. But she's learning with you, and that's the important thing. She's showing she's interested in what you're interested in, and that's what's important. We'll be back on Thursday. Until then, we love you. Good night.
That hurt.
I want to play in Europe. What the hell does that mean, right? Because Europe could be Latvia, Luxembourg.
No one's talking about Latvia or Luxembourg, dumbass.
So you don't want to just shove it in there. Start with the smaller finger, especially if this is the first time. Start with the smaller finger and go slow.
I mean, there's a lot of things that need to change.
Honey, eating it is the best thing that you can do for your man.
I want people to realize I'm just human. I'm just human, and I make mistakes.
So this guy, Derek, wants to know, is putting your tongue in an ass really the thing to do?
Yeah, it feels really good.